Welcome to episode 7 of the weekly Security Mashup. I'm Taylor Armerding, Senior Security Strategist with the Synopsys Software Integrity Group, here again to talk a bit about what's trending in software security and insecurity, including how to improve your own security. So, starting from the top, page 1, this cup overfloweth with hackers. The FIFA World Cup, the European football, yes, Americans still insist on calling it soccer, tournament, started this past week. It is appropriately named given that it is one of the world's biggest sporting events, way bigger than the Super Bowl, the World Series, and any other U.S. pro sports championship. It will draw more than 5 million in-person spectators and a worldwide TV and online audience in the billions. Producing and running it involves hundreds of companies and thousands of people. It happens, like the Olympics, only once every 4 years in a different location, which means the infrastructure has to be built from scratch each time. All of which makes it a very large, very attractive attack surface for hackers. And given that it's being hosted in that hacker's paradise known as Russia, what could possibly go wrong? Yes, a lot. Experts have been warning for months that online attacks will be just as intense and aggressive as anything happening on the field of play. In the days leading up to the event, World Cup-themed spam email was flooding inboxes while fake web pages offered fake giveaways in an effort to steal money and personal information. And now, this past week, came a blunt warning from William Evanina, an FBI agent and director of the U.S. National Counterintelligence and Security Center. He told Reuters that for those planning to attend the event, this would be an especially opportune time to disconnect from the World Wide Web. He said any electronic device, mobile phone, tablet, laptop, PDA, will likely be hacked either by criminals or by the Russian government. He didn't explain the difference. But his warning was serious. Make no mistake, he told Reuters. Any data on those devices, especially your personally identifiable information, may be accessed by the Russian government or cybercriminals. He acknowledged that high-profile people, corporate and government officials, would be the most attractive targets, but that anybody and everybody is a target. If you can do without the device, don't take it. If you must take one, take a different device from your usual one and remove the battery when it's not in use, he said. So, while considering whether you can live without broadcasting your World Cup activities on social media to all your friends, you should also consider whether you can live with really bad people knowing all that as well, plus having your personal and financial information. Page 2. Forgeries take a bite out of Apple security. Amid all the coverage of Apple's decision to remove its USB access feature, something that displeases both hackers and law enforcement, you might have missed another one on forging Apple's digital signature. Yes, it has been quite some time since Apple said, or at least implied, that its products were immune to hacking. Give the company credit, this past January it announced that all of its products were vulnerable to exploits through Spectre and Meltdown, design flaws in its CPUs, central processing units, otherwise known as chips. But it still promotes security and privacy as one of its core features. According to its website, at Apple we build privacy into every product we make so you can enjoy great experiences that keep your personal information safe and secure. Apparently not always. That took a hit as well this past week with word that for more than a decade, it has been easy for hackers to get Mac operating system malware past the scrutiny of more than a half dozen third-party security tools by using the digital version of a very old fraud technique, forgery. It is also yet another illustration of a mantra in cybersecurity. Your company is only as secure as its weakest link, which includes third parties. As Motherboard noted, this is not a flaw in Mac OS, but an issue in how third-party security tools implemented Apple's APIs. Josh Pitts, staff engineer, research and exploitation at Okta, explained it in a blog post titled, "I can be Apple, and so can you." He said attackers can easily trick those security tools into thinking that malicious code is an app that was signed with the digital key Apple uses to sign off on those that are legit, which is not what any device owner wants to hear. The good news is that this gaping security hole is closing. Pitts wrote that known affected vendors and open source projects have been notified and patches are available. But he added that more third-party security, forensics, and incident response tools that use the official code signing APIs are possibly affected. It is also enough to make anyone wonder what other security vulnerabilities exist now, but won't be discovered for another decade. Page 3, routing us to Hackerville. We talked a bit last month about what researchers at Cisco Talos called a sophisticated modular malware system we call VPNFilter that had already compromised about 500,000 home and small business routers in 54 countries. Besides the capability to spy on users and conscript routers into botnets, it can also brick them, render them useless. And it turns out it is more potent, more malicious, and more tenacious than they first thought. In a post last week, they added more router brands than they had earlier reported that are vulnerable to it. The list now includes Asus, D-Link, Huawei, Linksys, Microtik, Netgear, QNAP, TP-Link, Ubiquiti, Upvel, and ZTE. The researchers also said they had discovered a new Stage 3 module that injects malicious content into web traffic as it passes through a network device without the user's knowledge. A man-in-the-middle capability that lets attackers deliver exploits to endpoints. It also turns out that advice from the FBI a couple of weeks ago that users could get rid of the malware by rebooting their routers won't do all that much good. Talos says that while that would disrupt VPNFilter and buy infected users a little time, it isn't enough to fully remove it. So what should you, the user, do? Well, short of getting rid of your router, which some experts have recommended, Munir Hahad, head of Juniper Threat Labs and a member of the Cyber Threat Alliance, said you should do what experts have been telling you to do for years. Make sure you have the latest antivirus software running on your endpoints, install security patches as soon as they are available, and use two-factor authentication on every account you have that supports it. And that's our advice for this week. The weekly Security Mashup is a group effort, so thanks again to our entire content team, and thanks to you for watching. Help us spread the word, tweet it, link it, share it, and come back again next week. I'm Taylor Armerding for the Synopsys Software Integrity Group, where we help organizations build secure, high-quality software faster.